Villains, gangsters, or faces as they prefer to be called, are the people that have been making newspaper headlines for all the wrong reasons over the past 50 years.
You play, you get hurt. Simple.
Some are instantly recognisable, but many are not.
If you have the name done, that's it, you're finished.
In this second series, some of those involved in the Underworld's most infamous crimes have agreed to go on camera to tell how things happened and why.
I'm an old man now, but I can shoot and stab as well as anybody else.
My name is Bernard O'Mahony. I was a friend of the Cray twins and a key member of the Essex Boys firm.
And everyone seems to think that I had something to do with the actual killings of them when they actually got killed in the Range Rover. And this was something that Damon tried to impress. He wanted to be like that.
I know this world, I know these faces, and I am going to take you on a journey into the heart of the Underworld.
I'm shackled to a chair, battered, guns out of my head constantly. Just 3 days of non-stop beatings and torture.
But he's not dead now.
He's not dead. He's not dead. Yet.
This guy always finishes on top.
You're gonna come here and go boom and shoot him. You're then gonna walk this way. You're gonna see Dave Courtney stood there, and you're gonna be like boom. Yeah? Sounds rolling.
Steve.
Take 203, take 2.
Guns are hot.
Bonded by Blood 2 is the latest gangster flick that depicts events from my criminal career. There have been numerous movies based on true crimes. I have no doubt that there will be many more. In Britain there is a fascination with crime and criminals that has guaranteed, with the help of the media, that names like Paul Ferris, Frankie Fraser and Freddie Foreman will be remembered for all time. The differences between a movie star gangster and a real one are of course numerous. Few in the Underworld would ever describe being beaten, stabbed, shot or imprisoned as glamorous. That is of course if they are allowed to have their say. Many who have been built up by the media are soon knocked down, and steps are taken to ensure that their silence is ensured.
My book was accepted by 2 publishers, but the publishers who accepted my book were religious publishers, and also they were business people who supplied the church with ornaments, investments and books and you name it. And because of a particular bishop in Dublin at the time, Charles McQuaid, he didn't like what I had said in my book about these industrial schools. So what they did was they tried to suppress my book. So the way they suppressed my book, they more or less told 2 different publishers, the Mercier Press, Gillen Macmillan, publish this book at your own peril, because you won't receive any more wherever, people going in from the church, buying our books or whatever. They were boycotted, more or less, as far as I'm concerned. So my book was never published.
What do you say about this, you know, the media calling you the Godfather and, you know, pulling all the strings and controlling, you know, the Irish criminals? What do you think of all that? What do you say to them about that?
Well, it's easy for those people to throw stones, you know, but they should have a deeper look at themselves rather than accuse other people. I mean, I would hate to be in a position of power to be able to destroy a person or elevate a person or drive a person crazy. That's the power these people have. And I wouldn't like to have that type of power. I'm a victim of that abuse of power. I've suffered at the hands of policemen all my life and certain religious figures. And but it's not over yet for me. I have my story to tell, and when it is told, people will understand. But the media in Ireland, I wouldn't talk to them. I mean, I know one person here involved in the media, and a fellow called Williams, and you might as well put a uniform on him and let him go up to the Phoenix Park and be the next commissioner. He would be more a policeman than a journalist. And he's mentioned my name in all these books, uses me. Recently they put a program on TV3, which is owned by Dennis O'Brien, who controls the media as far as I'm concerned. And 3 members of the Gardaí who were involved in my case, well, 2 of them were involved in my case, they talk about that I was convicted, rightly so, etc., and that at the end of the day, the judiciary rejected everything I had to say. So in other words, I was a rogue and I was gone to prison, and that's where I deserve to be. But I'm the one that knows. I've never had an appeal against my conviction, and I'm waiting for my appeal. I've written to the Broadcasting Authority of Ireland, and I've told them that these people are telling lies, and it's not the view that the judiciary or the courts would hold, and as far as they're not interested.
But if you were a straight, not saying you're not.
Oh, if I was a person of impeccable character, I'd be probably getting compensated to.
When anti-gun campaigner Stephen French was in prison for possessing a gun, the press not only poured scorn on him for hypocrisy, they decided it was open season, and as in Christy Dunn's case, published entirely false stories to discredit him further.
I received 13 front pages. My barrister complained about it to the Mirror Group, Trinity Mirror. He was told by the Liverpool Echo, when I'm on the front page, circulation goes up 15%. I understood that. What I didn't understand is when an individual called Sam Walker wrote to the Echo, told the Echo that I was beating up vulnerable prisoners and that he threw me down the stairs. Yeah? Now, when this happened, he was in Walton and I was in Preston jail. It never happened. But the Echo ran it on the front page, and the billboards that go outside the shop, the little like white oblong pieces of wood with crisscrosses on it and has a bullet point on it. French is a bully. All over the city, my family had to see that, right? I hate bullies, yeah? At the center of every bully is the heart of a coward. One thing I know about myself, yeah, and I proved it again in prison, is that I'm no coward, yeah? Now, the power of the press, I wrote to the Echo from jail, and I told them, like Piers Morgan, and the photographs of Iraq, when he said the soldiers were getting tortured and they weren't, and he got sacked from the Mirror, they have a responsibility, yeah, to check the veracity of their stories. They didn't check the veracity of their story, they just put up that I'm a bully. I brought Evander Holyfield to Liverpool to talk about peace. They put me on page 25. Yeah, right? I allegedly bullied somebody in jail, it never happened, they put me on the front page. Go figure, as our American friends say. So I understand the press will build you up and then they will smash you down.
Whilst the media do engage in the character assassination of villains who are trying to reform, there are individuals who use the media to build fictional characters or exaggerate versions of events that portray them in a totally false light. After ex-Royal Marine Chris Thrall spent 12 weeks working as a doorman in a Hong Kong bar, he returned to the UK and wrote a book. According to Thrall, he somehow became a crystal meth addict by smoking 1 gram per week. Despite having the cheapest drug addiction in crystal meth history, he still managed to work for the triads. I believe his story simply highlights the dangers of misusing drugs. The media, of course, aren't interested in checking his claims because they know the truth may ruin a good story.
Crazily at the time, I thought because I'm working in the night, then I wouldn't take the drug, because I realised I had a problem with it. But with addiction, it doesn't work like that. Every time I worked the door, I'd be smoking crystal meth.
How much were you doing a day?
I must have a low tolerance, Bernie, because I did a little bit. There were guys there injecting a gram of this stuff, you know, up to twice a day. And yet a gram for me would last, well, anything up to a week. A guy at the bar said, Chris, you know they're all triads. I just thought I was regular doorman, you know. What they wanted was a Westerner that could stand between the East and West difference.
One night, a girl collapsed from a drug overdose that left Thrall with the dilemma of either calling an ambulance or, as the triads insisted, throwing her in the alleyway. He took the ambulance option, a move he claims put his life in danger.
The next thing I knew, the bar was filled with 15, 20 doormen from all the other clubs, and they all just stood there like that, looking at me. I'm looking at like 20 of Hong Kong's hardest men, all staring at me like I was a done deal. I honestly can say I thought I was going to die. I thought this is the moment, you know. It's going to be chopping blades appearing at any minute. I thought two things. I thought first, you lot are fuck all. I'm a fucking Royal Marine Commando. You think you can intimidate me? Next one of you fuckers that comes down that stairs and gobs off, you're gonna have it. The next one, I'll take the entry stamp and you can have it in your forehead. And I won't go down without a fight, you know? You're just petty gangsters that need to belong in a, you know, this stupid little clique to fucking feel good about. You got no idea what it takes to become a Royal Marine Commando. And we will fucking stand and fight, you know? And I thought, fucking hell, this is initiation, isn't it, you know? They're trying me. That's what they're doing. They want to see if I'm just gonna turn tail, run up them stairs and wrap myself around the nearest copper. Then I just walked in the bar, did a Michael Jackson spin, got all these faces, you know, looking daggers at me. I just did a spin and started dancing with one of the girls. And, fuck a minute.
The confrontation came to nothing, but Thrall left Hong Kong and decided to turn his story into what he hoped would be a best-selling book.
It was only through my drug experience that I learnt stuff about myself. And one of those things was that I like to write. And so one day I sat down off my nut. I thought, right, I'm gonna write a best-selling book. I made a cup of tea, rolled a rollie. I wrote 4,000 words. And within 6 months, I had a manuscript that was just ridiculously huge. It was 240,000 words or something. But, you know, you can say what you like about drugs. I told my mates, I'm gonna write a best-selling book. You know, that's eating smoke.
Eating smoke or talking nonsense, I know what I believe. In other interviews, Thrall has claimed he was chased across rooftops by cleaver-wielding triads, fell and landed on 2 decomposing bodies that had been hacked to death. In other interviews, Thrall claims he was kicked out of the triads for being too hardcore, rather than simply walking away from his bar job, as he told me. Some may view these discrepancies as harmless fun or poetic licence, but falsehoods can cause people considerable damage.
I want you to pass on a message.
I'm scared, Paul. I'm so scared. It's gone too far. It's took over your life. It's possessed your soul.
If you want fucking more.
A man named Billy Loban was reluctantly dragged kicking and screaming into the limelight and left without so much as a right to reply because of stories he maintains are lies. When Paul Ferris named Loban has been involved in the murders of Joe Hanlon and Bobby Glover, it gave the press an opportunity to portray him as a cold-blooded assassin.
24 years this has been going on. You know, every now and again something new will pop up. My name will be fired into the frame. It's never ending. You know, it just takes the life right away from you. You know, you can't live your life as a normal human being anymore because that's been ripped from you, you know. So you're just having to, I suppose, get on with it as best as you can. I did that for so many years and then I decided to fight back, okay? I thought, I've had enough. I'm going to write my own book, tell my side of the story, and then hopefully people will then see another side, because there's always two sides to a story, right? And all people have heard so far, well, for over 2 decades, is one side of it, because there's no one else come forward. No one, because there's no one else to talk about it, apart from me.
The media, of course, are not all bad. In fact, they have and still do assist alleged criminals in securing their freedom. Before the days of reality television, large budgets were given to production companies to make programmes about miscarriages of justice. Granada TV's World in Action series made 2 programmes about the Birmingham pub bombings. They raised serious questions about the validity of the forensic evidence gathered by Dr. Scouse. His evidence was used to secure convictions in the case.
Dr. Scouse turns around and states that it wasn't a grease test he carried out. He said it was a special Scouse grease test, which he himself had invented and perfected, and that he'd been using it for over 20 years, and it was capable of picking up nitroglycerine at the rate of 20 nanograms. If he had been telling the truth, well, it would have been one of the biggest breakthroughs in forensic science in the field of explosives since the day they invented gunpowder. But nobody in his own laboratory knows anything about it. Nobody at the Home Office who are his employers know anything about it. And there's nobody in the forensic departments anywhere in the world that know anything about it. Complete fantasy. Not only that, I found out later that he carried out the wrong test he didn't know his ass from his elbow in layman's terms. In scientific terms, he didn't even know the difference between nitrate and nitrite. And as I say, he was totally discredited. And of course, Lord Lane made it quite clear before our 87 appeal that the one thing he didn't like was cases coming before the court that were media orchestrated. And we had 22 witnesses, police officers, prison officers, ex-police officers, and if I remember correctly, 2 of them from Special Branch. And they all gave evidence on our behalf. And Lord Lane knocked every one of them back.
Publicity generated by the programme brought a glut of fresh evidence to the case, and support groups began protesting the men's innocence throughout the country.
The second World in Action was in respect of Tom Clark, the cop who came forward and told him about the way we were treated and working at the Queen's Road police station. And that was because of the outcry. Amnesty International, and of course at that time, Birmingham 6 support groups and Guildford 4 support groups were springing up all over the country like sprouts, and they got worried and they ordered another police investigation by the Devon and Cornwall police. That was the second one. And of course in the second one, we ended up getting, this is the reason why the Crown prosecution withdrew in 1990 all police evidence in our case.
Paddy Hill and his co-accused would undoubtedly have been praising the media for the sterling work that they had done on their behalf. But the publicity that was generated turned out to be a double-edged sword.
We had 5 of the police officers involved. They went to court, and they were at court in Southwark in London for about half a dozen appearances over a couple of years. And suddenly, the next appearance they went into court, and the usual magistrate that was listening to the case for quite a while wasn't there. It was a different magistrate that came in from somewhere out in the sticks, I believe. And he ruled that because of all the adverse publicity surrounding the Birmingham pub bombing case, that everybody outside the public believed that we had been tortured and framed, He turned around and said because of all that adverse publicity, the police could not get a fair trial.
Due to overwhelming media support, Hill walked free, but so too did those he claimed tortured him. We have all therefore been deprived of the truth. I have questioned the innocence and guilt of several people in books that I have written, and I believe it is right and proper to do so. There are, of course, many other valid and good reasons for people from all walks of life to write books or tell their story via the media. Essex villains Billy and Eddie Blundell want their children and grandchildren to know their true family history and not some third-hand account written by a journalist who has never even met them.
We're at an age now where we've got family, got grandchildren, great-grandchildren. They want to know where we come from. They want to know what we did. They want to know why we got into trouble or how we got into trouble. And obviously, for that same reason as Billy decided he wants to write a book, is very similar reason why I've written it. Other people keep asking me to do it.
My author asked me, he said, Bill, he said, why do you want to write this book? And I said to him, really, I want to write this book because I'm getting old, I've got children and grandchildren, and I want them to know what we're all about, where we've come from. I want them to know about my Spanish connection, my English connection. My English family came from Birmingham. I want to leave a document saying exactly what we were about, what we did, how we grew up, and what we had to do to survive.
Crime is, of course, a source material for many popular TV programmes. Some villains believe their true life experiences will help them earn fame rather than infamy. Former international drug smuggler Brian Charrington and his brothers starred in the pilot of a show called Drug Dealers Birds. Unsurprisingly, Brian played a member of a drug dealing gang.
We're three brothers, me, Danny and Ray. Danny's in the middle. Danny never wanted no involvement in this world at all. Ray, yes. Ray wanted to follow me and my dad, but Danny did not. And so this was something he'd pursue in his spare time. He met a director called Sean Cronin. They were filming this sort of tongue-in-cheek type footballers' wives deal. Would I be interested in doing it? And I was, absolutely not. But my brother was, can you please do this as a favour? He needs some sort of henchman or whatever that may be. So, yeah, I decided to do it. It was all a bit of fun, really, you know what I mean? And didn't really know how it was all going to turn out. You spend a day there doing a bit of shooting. We took the boat out and done a bit of filming, and for me, that was that. And what it turned out to be was quite something else, I'm
sorry! You made me a complete twat! You worked for me! I'm sorry! No!
Another day in fucking paradise.
Simeon Zimbo Moore, a former member of Birmingham's infamous Johnson crew, used his notoriety to engage the media in the hope of bringing about change for the greater good.
On the streets of Birmingham.
Three fatal shootings in as many weeks. Birmingham now has the highest concentration of gun crime in the country.
His jaw's gone, I'm looking around the place, there's teeth about the place, there's a bit of tongue about the place. That's a traumatic experience, man.
When I see this man, I'm gonna fuck him up.
The documentary 1 Mile Away, which highlighted the Johnson crew's battle with the Burger Bar Boys, was a platform for a government-run incentive providing help for gang members.
I got involved in a documentary called 1 Mile Away. I was trying to stop the gang violence in Birmingham. I got involved reluctantly, I didn't want to. I was just getting pestered at the time to come and speak and they was trying to basically stop the gang warfare that was going on.
18 and I'm going down for packing a gun. Misled by my elders, I was slanging for funds. Still attacking my lungs, weed smoke got me.
So this is what I put forward to the filmmaker and the people that were making the documentary, and they were trying to do, and we're trying to bring some peace around. So I'm saying that I basically was saying to them that, look, the real issue is the mentality. Like gangs or groups of people, what I'm trying to say? People form into groups, come into groups. Like it's human nature to want to be around, to want to be involved, to want to be, what I'm trying to say? It's human nature. So that's not the issue. It's the mentality, the way these people operate, the way they live their life, the way they think, their whole mentality. What I'm trying to say now? If we're going to deal with the real issues, then I'm all in.
Nothing ain't changed.
Because the next man dies now or the next shot goes up, it's just going to get messy again.
So did 1 Mile Away change anything, do you think?
I believe so. I believe so. It just because some of the people that got involved, I believe that a lot of things stopped happening. Not stop to a halt. They stopped to a halt for a while, and little things happening, and things happen now and again. But it's not how it used to be.
Many of the youth in inner city Birmingham believe that crime, the use of guns and selling drugs is their only option. We have to change this. So some of us have decided to come together to rebuild our community.
What I say to the people that are trying to fight what we're doing and trying to when they get to the stage when they're fed up with what they're doing, they want to make the changes in their life, then we're here. You know what I'm trying to say? They're here and we will support them to make it happen. That's what we do.
In 2008, I wrote a book about former boxer Lou Yates. After witnessing the adoration being bestowed upon his father, Lou's 24-year-old son Billy asked if I would write his biography. He was annoyed and disappointed when I explained that he hadn't done anything in his life that was worthy of a book.
Hello people, it's Billy Boy Mind earlier, and I'm just letting you know that my book will be out March, April next year.
Undeterred, starstruck Billy created a fictitious life story in which he became a respected and feared villain.
The sexiest sound in the world.
Billy not only talked the talk, he posed with known villains to authenticate his claims, and overnight he began to walk the walk.
There's only one book for me. That's this. See that? Proper book.
Billy Boy became Bully Boy, threatening and intimidating innocents because Billy believed that's how his heroes behaved.
I just wished he'd learnt from me and said not to knock about with certain people and things like that, and don't ever underestimate people, and never trust anybody really in a way, especially in that group of type field, you know what I mean?
What sort of people are they? You know?
Oh, scumbags that I'd give a good hiding to. He used to say to me, Dad, do you know such a body? I said, yeah. He said, you know you and all this, that, and the other. He said, you give them a good hiding years ago. I said, yeah, they're assholes. What are you doing with them? They're no good. They're only assholes. You know, well, you want them round you. You want decent people around you. You know what I mean? Successful people around you, not that type of people, you know what I mean? They've got no aim in life or nothing else, you know what I mean? Well, he ended up, didn't he, getting murdered. A very cowardly thing, attacked from behind, and then chased after young Lewis to kill him as well. He was only 14.
14?
Yeah, Lily was 5.
They were both with Billy?
Both with Billy on the land. Billy had some land with all animals on and that. Yeah, and yeah, he was your mate, he'd come up there. But he'd argued over money that he owed Billy. And he was on the old gear and all, and the steroids, and they'd had a row, and Billy come in, and there's 2 of them there. Billy said, I thought he was coming on your own. He went, nah, and then he was coming round. Billy's mate, Paul, he sat there, and next minute, with a heavy knuckle duster, he's gone behind like Billy. Billy's totally relaxed like that on the table, evidently. And he's just crouched, crack, and Billy shouted out, you fucking some or other, right? He didn't knock him out straight away. He knocked him out, so his head's on the table. And then he turned around Paul, so-called pickaxe handle up. He took it off Paul, battered him. Big bite mark there, absolutely battered all over he was. His knees, everything. And then he turned around and hit Billy. His head was on the table 3 times, the scientist said at the trial. And killed him, just, you mean, his eye sockets and everything. It was bad news. And then, when he'd done that, Lewis, young Lewis, his lad, 14-year-old, saw him. He saw him doing it. Imagine how that feels, seeing your dad being done like that. And then he chased after Lewis, but he's going down. Lewis hid under a caravan, petrified, and he's shouting, where are you, bastard, I'm going to kill you as well. And he thought he'd killed Paul, killed Bill, and he was going to kill him. And he walked past the caravan with little Lily in, and little Lily was just crying and screaming, evidently. Yeah.
There's nothing new about young men looking up to villains, whether they be fictional or otherwise. Britain's first celebrity gangsters were Billy Hill and Jack Spot, co-rulers of the London Underworld in the 1950s. The publication of Hill's book catapulted him into the national media and ensured that he became a household name overnight. However, even Hill's reputation paled beside that of Ron and Reg Cray, the sinister twins who have been immortalised in films and countless books. More recently, self-styled, self-publicised and self-indulgent gang star Dave Courtney left all of his predecessors in his wake after the media chose to ignore the facts about his past. Not only did they ignore the facts, they embellished them in order to produce headline-grabbing stories. With or without intent, the media created a myth, and Courtney went along with it for the ride.
I was going to have a lady there that was an identical twin, a rapper, and they done a record called "They Took the Rap," meaning the Cray twins. It was a set of twins doing a song about a set of twins, and I got asked up to the prison to see them and how much was they going to get out of it, and a little friendship sparked up. But in my eyes, I was just buzzing around meeting the Cray twins. I was a young man, easily impressed. But in the authorities' eyes, I was now an affiliated Cray twin gang member. When in reality, I was sitting in a Silver Cross pram eating Farley's rusks when they were running round. I ended up being chosen by Reggie to do Ronnie Cray's funeral. I looked at it as my most proudest day, but I'm afraid the press and the authorities looked at it as that's the first sign of organised crime in Great Britain. All these people that Courtney has got down here, they've all got their own criminal CV, and that is organised crime of criminals by a criminal. After the Cray twin funeral, I then had Roger Cook come and kick my door down. I had the social services come and check my children to see if I'd tampered. They just completely destroyed me because I'd done a fucking funeral. I like to think I'm a bit of an entertainer, more of a naughty man, yeah? And that suited me down the ground. I hadn't done all these fantastic crimes that everyone that was put in my genre was supposed to have done. I hadn't robbed any great train robberies, been in prison 47 years, Brinks Mat. I hadn't done anything like that, but I was an entertainer.
Entertainer or not, once the media had propelled Courtney to the fore of the underworld, the police quite rightly began to take an interest in him.
I should have known better because the media done it to the Crays themselves. When they decided they was going after them, they spent 2 years making sure that they was all over the headlines in every single week of the paper, causing loads of little internal things with the Richardsons, so that when they did actually catch them for something and give them 30 years for something that they should have only got 15 for, no one in the whole country was going to moan because they spent 24 months actually selling you the story of they're the naughtiest thing in the world, just like now the media can convince England to go and blow up another country looking for weapons of mass destruction. We go and blow up another country and then go, because of the media, we'll all agree with it and then go, oh, sorry, no, we were wrong. The police ain't too keen on Dave Courtney. They don't like the rest of the world thinking he's a nice bloke or any funny, so it's only normal, They want the rest of the world to hate you, and because they have the media in their hand, the rest of the world will hate you. Unless you've actually had it done to yourself, you've read a newspaper, the news of the world just going out to 69 million people, and there's something in it about myself that ain't right, and I'm reading it, it teaches you to read newspapers completely different for the rest of your life. And my kids get told off at school and they're chewing gum and they say, what, you think I'm frightened of your father? I was a 13-year-old girl at school, like, what are you talking about? And I can't have a letter or a parcel delivered to my house without it having to be opened by the police first. I only get a yearly passport. They won't give me a 10-year passport, a yearly passport. I'm not allowed to get life insurance because when I went to get life insurance to get the house, they put me in the same bracket as astronauts, deep-sea divers and potholers, and me, I went, like high risk. I said, well, what do you know that I don't know then? What was high risk about they won't give me a visa to go to America, take my kids there. I can't get a licence for a pub, I can't get a licence for can't insure my life to buy an house, I can't open a bank account because my name is flagged.
Despite the harassment his media-engineered reputation has caused both him and his family, Courtney has done little or nothing to call time on the charade. In fact, he continues to revel in his undeserved infamy.
I've got propelled into this superstar celebrity gangster thing, then it's no good running around going, no, I'm not, because you look like a prick. Right? So you might as well run with it. And the quicker I could get in and out of this little gangster world. Now, it was a lot easier to be an ex-criminal than criminal. So I was an ex-criminal before I was a criminal. The reason they wanted me on all these TV programmes was to talk about crime. They gave me stick to cigars in your mouth, you know, they wanted it. And so they actually built this, if you understand what I mean. Yeah, I gave them what they wanted to see. You know, I wear the crown of typical English criminal, and I wear it quite proudly. I like to think I'd behaved in a way that would make, if I was a voice piece for English naughty men, I think I'd done them proud, you know? Yeah, I earned them all money, I got them all, involved them all in my film. Everything I've ever done is for the us and them, and it ended up with, you know, when you was a kid, you all chipped in, one of you paid to get in the cinema, and when you got in, you popped the fire door open for all your mates to run in, yeah? Well, that was my job for them, getting into this celebrity world, to get in there and then put the door open and drag them all in, which is what I think I'd done. And then, but human nature is jealousy crept in, and professional jealousy over who sold more books and who was on what programme and who was on. You know, it's a very fickle world, that gangster world is very fickle. Yeah, it's not as testosterone filled manly as it's supposed to be.
Courtney, a former bin man, realised that the more stories he told, the bigger his reputation would become. Neither his publisher nor the media bothered to check the authenticity of his claims, because they knew the truth would ruin a good story.
I was actually building my reputation up, hoping that the more criminally I made myself sound, the better the books and films and records and all that was going to make. I didn't realise it at the time when I was chasing it, yeah? At the time they were going, the more you can get in the paper, Dave, the more you can sell your book. They make you, they mould you into this and then chastise you for being it.
Given a free rein to promote himself as a gangster, Courtney actually appeared in print and on national television and falsely claimed that he had committed at least 2 gangland murders.
I've done what would be said in the Bible is the most cardinal sin, and had to take someone's life on more than one occasion. Once again, I feel I was justified in that, as it was sort of put upon me that it was a me or him situation. Now, that doesn't happen to normal people in normal everyday life, but in very rare occasions in my way of life, then that does arise.
The media, of course, went along for the ride, feeding the myth and enhancing the status of a very dangerous breed of non-criminal.
Just rung my missus. Hello, Jen. Blah, blah, blah. I'd like you to come on a show. Gangster's wife. Blah, blah, blah. He's having a bit of bad press lately. If I can help out, if Dave wants to come on, you can do that. And I went to her. What do you want to do? She went, oh, we'll go out there and am it up. So that's really what we done. But all the questions of the informant thing and the murder thing and all that was all from her. It wasn't me going, hello, I've shot someone. They told us that it was going to be about Jennifer. And how she and my children are having to pay by what the police don't like about me. Because I've been a criminal, they are having to pay, you know, like, that's really what she told her it was going to be about. And I won them over with the giggles and laughs, and it just sort of, I thought I looked at it as a little victory for myself. They're looking at it as I'm standing on telly going, yeah, I shot someone, what? But that really weren't it. I never mentioned that. I thought you was being brought on the show to say, oh, woe is me, what they're doing to me.
How TV presenter Tricia tricked Courtney into appearing on television and confessing in detail to 2 murders remains a mystery. Courtney now claims that undercover officers were watching him make his double fictitious murder confession, but this only heightened his pleasure.
It added fuel to my fire. It made me be a little bit more cheeky. Rather than going, oh no, sorry, I didn't, product of the environment, I couldn't help it. Right, I went the other way and done.
When you said on Tricia you stood trial for the murder and,
yeah,
you know, that was for the benefit of the police.
It was for the benefit of television, really. It's for the benefit of the fucking television. I'm giving her whatever she wanted to do here and all that, you know. It's just made me put the flag up and the thing and I'll give you something to look at. I'm just that way. It's not glamorising crime, because I ain't glamorising crime. I ain't. I'm glamorising Dave. You're led by agents, journalists, radio interviewers, Tricia, Vanessa, you know, they all, you know, you got Guy Ritchie coming here choosing the actors out of all my mates for Snatch and Lockstock in my back garden. You know, I mean, they're bigging you up, aren't they? And they don't want me to talk about anything else, to dress any different than this, to have any other haircut. The cheeky chap, they encourage it. They didn't want me to go to the Oxford Union and talk about nothing else. They don't want me to sing a record about it. We're here today doing this. They don't want me saying anything else. And it would be a very boring interview if you come here and I went, I didn't do nothing, it's not me, I can't run. Right, it'd be fucking stupid. So I'd be what you want to be, but now I'm this old, and I'm no longer what they thought I was. I'm now paying the price dearly, and it is my own fault.
They turn out in their droves at theatres, pubs and nightclubs to shake their hero's hand and have their photo taken with him, for a fee of course. Sadly, Courtney's 23-year-old son Jensen thought that he could live the exciting life the media had manufactured for his father. Bloated with steroids, Jensen embarked upon a campaign of terror, robbing drug dealers, committing rape, beating up his father and threatening David Pinto, his own mother's brother, over an alleged £1,000 debt. Pinto was convinced that Jensen was going to carry out his threat and decided to act first. When Jensen left his girlfriend's home, Pinto put a gun to his head and shot him through the left eye. He then shot him through the shoulder. Jensen Courtney died the following day. Pinto and an associate named Robert Bleach were imprisoned for life with a recommendation that they serve at least 31 years.
I have 6 children. One of them decided to go the way that he thought I went, yeah? And I'm afraid was murdered. A couple of years ago he was shot in a drug orientated crime. And I'm afraid whether I'd been a milkman or a butcher or a postman, it wasn't going to alter his life, but I can actually see why they would say, or not be surprised it was my son that was killed. You know, everyone gets the blame if there was no computer games out and bad boy rappers and gangster rappers, they get the blame. Films get the blame. Certain clothing brands get the blame, and choice of company. And I'm afraid, as a parent, I got the blame for it, you know. And I genuinely nearly did get the blame for it. They couldn't get it out of their heads, the policemen, because they were trained that they were talking to a grieving father whose son had been murdered. They couldn't get it out of their head that they was talking to Dave Courtney, a criminal. So they spin-doctored a few stories around the press that made it very embarrassing for me to... insinuating that it might have been something to do with me, which actually ended my marriage. And I was married for 25 years, but it ended my thing. And I've had great losses. I've lost a lot of friends. My boy, I don't think any parenting changes would have made any difference to that one particular son. Yeah? I've got another shit, all 5, the other 5 are beautiful, cracking on nicely, but that one was a naughty boy. And I'm afraid it was a big burden on any one of their shoulders to be a notorious naughty man's son, whether they wanted to be naughty or not. Once you said your name was Jensen Courtney or Bo Courtney, you know, they was expected to be a certain way, a certain type, and people was a little bit, oh, I've been with your dad, whether he wanted it or not. So it was a big lump to put on their shoulders. The Jamie Foremans, the Joey Piles, the Nick Reynoldses, the Bo Courtneys, the Jensen Courtney, you know, they're the Jamie McLeans, they are big, big pedestals to be knocked off. You know, I suppose I have to go and hold my hands up for guilty, as I most really didn't make it easy for my kids, BB and me.
3 men's lives destroyed over a £1,000 debt. The dispute, of course, wasn't about the money. Jensen Courtney had been force-fed deluded gangland rhetoric since birth by his father. He felt he had to threaten violence or risk losing face amongst his minions. Pinto and Bleach are not the only ones with blood on their hands. Those in the media that created the Courtney myth are far from blameless. Glamorising crime is irresponsible, abhorrent even. But whilst the genre continues to print money for the media moguls, there will be many more wannabe gangsters like Billy Yates and Jensen Courtney. It makes me wonder if the world influences the media or the media influences the world. Sadly, I think it's the latter.